Hello my friends, I now invite you to enjoy this classic Dr. Groovy lesson.
Hello all, I'm Scott Grove here today with another free lesson for you. This one again is for the country players, and not just the country players. I'll be basing it off of country licks, but the idea here is to actually do something that kind of contradicts itself in theory here. It's to teach you via video how to think by yourself or think for yourself, and try not to use guys like me or all the YouTube guys so much, and try to learn things on your own, or take things that you already know and get more out of them. You're not thinking things through. So I'm going to show you a cool lick. It's actually one lick that's just done in one octave and then done in another octave, then finishes out. You can of course stick it in any key, but then I want to show you how to dissect that lick and turn it into all kinds of things. And it's the all kinds of things that I actually want you to explore and to learn. I'm going to tear this one down inside and out and show you how to learn. Okay, it's kind of like you know how kids today are. They'd all rather play Guitar Hero and stay inside on the video games, rather than play outside and learn how to kick a rock, kick a can, or kick somebody's butt. You know, it's cooler outside. People have gotten lazy, very lazy, as far as even lessons go. They're all used to having it spoon fed to them, tabbed out, here, send me this, and then people do it. Okay, so I'm going to try to teach you how to learn for yourself. Again, I'm doing straight pentatonic stuff. Why? Because that's what I love. And I'm going to do it country style. Why? Because that's what I love. You could put as much distortion and junk on this afterwards, but this is a thinking lesson. Yeah, you're going to get a lick right off the bat and learn how to do it, and then you'll probably be thinking that that's all I want and I'll be out of here. But you'll be losing out if you don't learn how to do a little thinking for yourself. Okay, so down here to the guitar, and we'll start learning how to do things. What is that dang thing he's playing? Okay, it's the Batmobile. I know it looks just like it, don't it? Check that puppy out. Okay, this is kind of hard to see with all the shadows and everything in here, but this is what is called a lace helix. It's made by the people who bring you the lace sensor pickups. They don't make guitars or basses anymore, thankfully. They never really did. They just outsourced them, had somebody else make them and put their pickups in it. But anyway, so that's what I'm playing today. So the lick I'm going to be doing today, yes, we'll have my infamous nothing but clean sound and tons of reverb, and I'll be throwing a compressor and my typical Morley volume pedal in here. But the lick, which is an important thing, is going to be, okay, and you don't see a whole lot of fret markers on here, so I'm going to be having to tell you where to go to. Okay, so we're going up here. I'll show you the lick that we are going to dissect. Very basic, very easy. You can play this in a million ways, as far as how to phrase it. You know, so it doesn't have to be for country. It doesn't have to be. This can be for any kind of music, like I said. Okay, so the basic lick is. Type of licks. Let me go to these two pickups. Okay, so what we're going to do is get around the basic lick, and then I'm going to show you how to do a million different things with it. Not only am I going to ask you to take these licks, which a lot of you probably know, even just that, and just play them one note at a time. Okay, and then break down everything. But what notes you can all play the bends to get to each note that you are playing, and how to do so much more, how to get more out of using all the notes that are there. again, it's just pentatonic stuff, but most people would just come to me for the lick. And whatever, and it can be played. Yeah, it's all the same notes, so it's how to get you to know all this, and also how to fade things in cool with the volume pedal. Okay? All these are the same things. So it's how to get all of that out of one lick. So again, like I said, I'm trying to teach you to work things out for yourself and analyze how this is done. Again, for me to pick up a guitar with no fret markers is probably not the smartest thing I've ever done. But then again, when have I known to be classified as particularly smart? Again, I will yell out all the fret numbers, so you should be fine and dandy. Okay, so I'm going to be playing in the key of D all the way through this. You could transpose this, I'll transpose it later just for fun. Okay, so here we go. We're going up to the 10th fret with your first finger, covering the E and the B string. Hitting them both. And I just want you to move them up to the 12th and then back. So we're just going to hit them one time. Okay, so slide and then slide right back. So that's 10, 12, 10 on the E and B strings. Those are fret numbers when I yell the numbers out, just like tab. 10, 12, 10 on both strings. Okay, so you've got that. Let's learn the whole lick all the way down, then we'll start breaking it apart and teaching you to think for yourself as I think for you. But I'm going to teach you to learn the process of thinking for yourself so that you don't need so many lessons, and you will get much better if you work this stuff out on your own than you will by following me or anybody else. The best thing you can do is not take lessons from anybody and figure everything out by yourself. You'll learn so much more that way. Never use tab, never use a teacher, but just figure it out on your own like I had to do, and it will stick with you. Through 2 strokes I still remember how to play guitar, but I don't really remember much of anything else. So this really is ingrained in my noggin. I remember every song I've ever played before the strokes, but since then, who knows, who cares, because it was all already there anyway. So, anyway, poor pitiful me, I know. Okay, so back again, 10, 12, 10. Okay, now we're going to do, okay, which is going to be G string on the 9, B string on the 8. Okay, so you can see the configuration I'm using. G on the 9, B string on the 8. Now we're going to do 9 and 8 is going to go up to 10 and, 11 and 10. Okay, so you're just going to take everything up 2 frets, just like the other thing. Okay, so 9 and 8 is going to 11 and 10. And back. And then you're just going to the 7th fret, which is a D again, and you can simply cover it up with your first finger. Okay. Now what's going to happen here is when you actually get, all you can do is hit those 2 strings, the G and the B string. Okay. Now we're going to do just an octave below what we just did. So everything we just did. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing but an octave lower. So it will be. Okay. Most of you should be able to figure that out. For those who don't want to or can't, it's on the 7th fret on your D and G string. And we're going 7, 9, 7. Okay? So far? Now we're going to A and D strings. Frets respectively will be 7 and 5. And we're moving moving that thing up a whole step or 2 frets. So from 7 and 5 up to 9 and 7 and back. Okay. We're going to finish it by going on the same 2 strings, 5 and 4. Okay, so we have depending on which string you want to accent, whether you want to pick down or if you want to pick up. Here you can accent that D string and give it a whole different sound. Put a lot more emphasis on the harmony instead of the other notes. So there you go. That's just one example of thinking outside the box. Hey, simply picking up instead of picking down. Each one of these little groupings of these double stops is what they're called when you play 2 strings together. Okay, if you're playing down or playing up, will make more difference when you get lower. Okay, here's down, or it starts to make a lot of difference when you get to the B and G strings. Instead of, now it's, that's just the difference between picking up or picking down. Okay, and the last little thing I just threw in at the end, if you remember, if not, here it is. Here's a whole new thing that a lot of you may not be familiar with, but you're just simply ending on the exact same thing I just showed you. A string 5th fret and D string 4th fret, but we're going to reconfigure just your middle finger, put it over on top, so we're getting a 5th below up here on the E string. So we're playing the 5th fret on the E string, and then we put our ring finger down on the A string. So we have 3 notes. They're being from the low string, from the E string, A string, D string. And numbers for like your tab would be 5, 5, 4. And you're simply going to bend your 4 on the D string towards the ground so it becomes a 5. Okay, so we have, and it comes back, and that's just resolves, and that actually leaves you a D triad. It's just formed differently than you're used to playing them, and they can be played very cool. Again, think outside the box. I'm going to get rid of the pick. Okay, so there's all kinds of cool things that can be done. Again, thinking for yourself, and I'm going to do the thinking for you in this lesson to show you how to think for yourself. Okay, I'm going to zoom in just ever so slightly. Not that it's going to make a whole bunch of difference, but again, because you have no fret markers, but you might get the idea better. Okay, so let's start learning how to think for yourself. The first thing we did, back up here to 10 and 10 on the E and B string. We went 10, 12, 10. Okay, the most obvious one would be to simply, which is already thinking for yourself. Instead of playing both notes at the same time, you play them singular, and you can do them either by sliding or not sliding. Okay? As stupid as this seems and as elementary as it seems, you gotta crawl before you walk, kids, and this is what this is all about. And okay, so you're doing that, and you've got that simply from, what else can you do? How do you get from here to here? You just play the notes instead of sliding. Okay, so that is thinking outside the box, and we are not doing anything that we haven't done yet. The same 4 notes are all we are playing from this. 4 notes. Okay, sounded like 2 before. Now it sounds like 4. Or, okay, again, I know it sounds, very kindergartenish, but it's the way it's going to be the rest of the lesson. Okay, now how else do we do it? From here, from 10 to 12, we bend it. So let's get behind there. We'll bend it from 10 to 12. And the B string too. And that's me using a volume pedal, not the knob on my guitar. And I have a compressor on for extra sustain. The Boss CS3 compressor sustainer. It's one of the only compressors that actually adds sustain, so your notes will go on as long as you want them to. They will not fade out until you want them to. And then of course my Morley PVO volume pedals that you have to reconfigure inside, and I have a video on the Morley how to fix them, because Morley doesn't make them worth a crap, but they're the only ones that do not take off your high end. You know how your guitar volume knob, you turn it down, your high end goes to crap on stock ones. You can replace them with ones that won't, but the Morley runs off of light. There's no pots in there. Okay, so again from 10 to 12. Okay, so there you have a few ways of thinking outside the box. Again, from here to here to here, and hammer-ons, pull-offs, and bending. Okay, so that is basically going to be the basis of everything going down, is how to do exactly what I just did, but in every position. And then while you're doing that, you're going to come up with more stuff. If you think you've already got the hang of it, shut this off, because there's not going to be much more beyond me doing a whole bunch more of the same thing, but all the way down that scale. So if you don't want to waste your time and you think you've got it, then by all means, please go do it by yourself, and it will stick with you better than watching me all the way through this video doing this all the way down for you. Okay, as long as you know the and the, and then starting over. Okay, because the rest of it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, let's tackle the rest for anybody who's sticking with me. Okay, the next ones were the 9 and 8 on the B string, going up a whole step again, and finally flattening out on the 7th fret. Okay? Now everything gets actually cooler here, because you have different ways to think about things. Of course you can always, again, upstroke, downstroke is going to sound different. I know you're going to get tired of that volume pedal, but I love it, so I use it. Okay, so let's start with the first two, which are the 9 and 8. Just simply going by the same rules we did before, going up a whole step for each one. Okay, again, of course, we can, or, okay, so let's think of the whole 3 sections here. The flatten out here at the 7th, then 9 and 8, and then 11 and 10. Let's go ahead and think all 3 of them all the way through. Okay, so we have that to work with. What do we got to work with? 3 notes. Let's play them all. Do it on the B string. Okay, so you're playing in D. Okay, so already you have those notes just from this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put little solos together. So everybody else that checked out, you're missing out. Okay, so we're simply going from 7, 8, 10 on the B string, because that is the top end of. Okay, and also think this out. Okay, so now you're bending from the 8 to the 10. So 7, 8, 10, back to 8, and back to 7. Yes, of course, this is cool. This is where the fun stuff happens. Distortion underneath here sounds great, especially if you're doing the neck pickup and you got your distortion on and just got that real warm tone. Sounds great doing that little half step bend, because you're only going from 7 to 8 to 7 to 8. Okay? Okay, so you can see that things are coming out of here. Okay, so we had 7, 8, 10, and then on the lower end of that same part, we had 7, 9, 11 on the G string. Okay, so now we still have that. We have 7, 8, 10 on the B. What am I doing? I'm adding in the other notes that we did before. Thinking for myself. Okay, and then I'm just doing the 11, 9, 7 on the G string. Now if you look at it and think about it on your own, you don't have to reach all the way up to 11 because it's already here on 7. Instead of having to go, unless you just want to make it look cool, or tap it. Just think the scale through. Okay, again, think for yourself. So this is, you see where it's going. Now when we did the 7, 9, 11 on the G string, let's get the bends. Okay, 7, 9, 11, back to 7, or 9, I'm sorry, 9 to 11, back to 9, now 7, bend it towards the floor or up, I don't care, I like to go towards the floor, unless we're getting ready to do what I'm doing in the next exercise, which is really cool. Okay, so we're doing 9 to 11, then 7 to 9, or, okay, so all kinds of ways to get there, and all kinds of cool things that you can do, okay. Or, start seeing ways you can put things together. These are the notes that are all in this stupid little country pattern that everybody's, oh, not country again, but you can see where it can take you. Okay, when I said we're going to do something even cooler, this is cool for the country guys and cool for the rock guys. What's the difference? Distortion, nothing else. Distortion and attitude. Okay? Rock guys won't be using volume pedals probably, and the country people will love this because it will end up being very pedal steel sounding, but we're bending 2 strings at the same time. Okay, so we're doing 7 and 7. I know somebody wants to order 7 and 7 right now. Okay, and then we're just going back to 9 and 8. 9 on the G, 8 on the B. Now we act like our fingers are glued together, bend them both up a whole step. I like picking these up because you can hear that B string really well. But if you want to play them down, of course, you're more than welcome to. Whatever you want. It's your guitar. Okay? So, if you want to follow suit with what I'm doing and do the volume swells, there you go. Right there is where to do them. Sound familiar? Okay, that's why. But for those of you who are not used to making that bend with both strings going exactly a full step, meaning 2 frets, it gets some, takes some time. Okay, so that's just doing 2 things at once, which is what we were doing before. No difference. But it definitely has a different sound. So again, outside the box. There's more of this to come. There's a whole lot more of it. I'll probably end up doing a full hour on just this and the things you can do with it. So if you can hang with me, as my voice changes, because it's like 8,000 in the morning, which I have no idea what it means, so that's exactly how late it is. Okay, so to take you backwards slightly from the beginning, from the 10s that we're going to the 12s, and I'm talking about, just because of the same thing, we're bending notes. There's no way to bend both those together on the E and the B string to make them work out to your benefit, but you can bend the B string only while you leave the E string there. So let's go back to 10 and 10. Use 2 fingers, get your rock and roll hands up, and just use your middle one on your ring finger so you can keep your devil horns up there. Make Dio and Gene Simmons proud. I know Dio can't fight over who actually invented this anymore, but him and Gene Simmons both claim to have invented the devil horns. Okay, so we're actually only going to take the B string and bend it up a whole step, but while we leave the E string at the 10th fret. Okay. So bending the B string, striking the E, striking the B, releasing it. Then, so you do that together, and you could do it with your pinky and your first finger. I'm sorry, your pinky and your ring finger. And use another finger, like your first finger back here, at like the, where do I have it, on the 8th fret to help me bend it. Okay, so more thinking outside the box. Okay, so we'll get to more of that. Okay, so now let's keep moving on. We see that we can go, and all that stuff. Okay, so a lot of this will be phrasing later. Now we have to think, now we're finally starting all over again. We're still starting at 7 and 7, but on the D string and the G string. So same as the beginning. So all the information here will be a review of what we did, but on the lower strings, and what we can do to make things sound better on lower strings, because the high strings, of course, sound one way, and on the low strings things can get really muddy, so we'll see what we have to avoid or what sounds cooler on low strings. Okay, so we're going 10, I'm sorry, again, it's late, folks. 7 and 7 on your D and G strings, and we're sliding up to the 9 on both of them, back to 7 and 7. Okay? And again, what can you do? You can do on the G string and, of course, exactly the same, like I said, as before. So 7 and 9 on the G, 7 and 9 on the D. Or do them one finger at a time. can we do? We can kind of sneak into what we did before. Okay. That thing. So now we have that we're doing. Let's add in just the from before. Okay, we're thinking outside the box. So now we're going to go now B string, but just one fret, just like before, because we already have this from the same thing and from this. Okay, so and then now we're going to add that to it from what we did before. And what note did we have before? That one. So you can choose that one or this one. Then you can finally go up there, leave it barred all the way across. Now you can actually add in the high E string at the 7th fret. We've got all this to work with now. Okay, so you see everybody else that checked out. All you gotta do is throw some distortion on that thing and you've got some cool stuff going on. Okay? But it is all usable in any genre. I use this all the time in country. And then I might chicken pick up, you know, just give it some okay? Because I'll use it like that. Okay, so all kinds of ways to do it. Country, rock, don't matter. It's just a matter of how much gain you have. Okay, there's a lot more to gain here. Okay, so we've covered this. Okay, now the next one are going to be just the same as this. We got to do them down here on the A and the D strings. We're doing A on the 7th fret, D string on the 5th fret. Okay, ring finger, first finger. Okay, 7 and 5 on the A and the D. Up a whole step just like always, nothing's changing. Okay, so we're going from 7 and 5, up to 9 and 7, back to 7 and 5, down to 5 and 4. That's back down to D. Okay? And if you play down, it's going to sound muddy like that. If you play up, you get a lot more of the harmony part, and it cleans up the sound, especially if you're playing clean. If you're playing distorted, you might want the chunk of the what's all that? Thinking outside the box. It's still the same stuff. It's just the choice of the same notes that you're playing. Okay? So again, look at this from all kinds of ways. Just use all the notes that are in this and how to achieve getting to each one via single notes, via bends, via hammer-ons, pull-offs, by doing things like I'm doing. And just grabbing more notes, just trying to find what can happen with this, and just adding all of a sudden you have a different rhythm. And of course I could do it up here. It's all there. It's just a different rhythm. Okay, so it's guitar is so easy. It's probably easier than guitar player. So put your kids back in the or outside the house and take that guitar player and smash it. Just teaches them how to push a red button. Ooh, get them a real guitar. Okay, so okay, same thing. Okay, so we're looking at 7 and 5, and then 9 and 7, and then 5 and 4. So the same thing, going. Okay. Okay, so we have 4, 5, 7 on the D string, and then 5, 7, 9. Those are all on the dots if you have dots on your fret markers or on your neck. Okay. So again, you have same as before. Okay, we're still bending the same notes because it's just an octave lower now. We're still doing the same thing. So let's do everything we did before. We can bend it towards the floor. And we're allowed to bring that one a half a step. We can do that a whole step. Why? Because it went 5, 7, 9. So that means we can go, and we can also go from 7 to 9. You can actually do it on the 5th fret of the low E too, because I'm bringing in that final chord where we have this 4th fret on the D, 5th fret on the A, 5th fret on the E. Bend that 4th fret towards the one that's on the 4th fret on the D string towards the floor. Sounds cooler if you bend it back for the people who are playing clean by the bridge. It really rings out if you're up here. It's all nice and muddy, but us twangers, we like to, just for those of you who want to know. Okay, and you can see it this way. So we went all the way back to the bridge pickup. All the tally players would play it way up there, you know, or the pickup selector right back there on the bridge pickup, and they would play back there toward the butt of the guitar, and it gives you a whole different sound. Again, think outside the box. Play all this stuff with different pickups, and it will inspire you to play other things. Okay, so again, okay, there we are at 5 and 4 on the A and D string. Doing the bend. I'm leaving out the low one just for now. Okay, now we had other things from just this exact same pentatonic scale and these same notes. Some of this will be stuff that I do all the time, that I teach all the time, but for people who come through here and just catch one lesson every now and then and miss everything else, we will add this stuff in. Okay, so again, 10 to 12 on your E and B. And again, okay, so now we have, again, I showed you where we could do the bend on the B string going up. Okay, now of course we can add these other notes to it. This is on the countryside, but that's fine. Everybody knows this one. If you don't, here's your first lesson, and I'll do it really quick. We're just adding one extra note. Pinky 10, ring finger 10, middle finger, we're adding from earlier. Okay, so 10, 10, then 9 with your middle finger, and just bend up only your middle finger up a whole step. Or you can use your pinky to cover the E and B strings, and use a couple fingers to help bend that 9th fret up. Okay, you'll hear that on the Eagles, doing it way down here in G. Okay, so not just for the country people. I know the Eagles seem like country to most people now, but it's still used that way. So anyway, so you've got that. Plus you can have the bend here. So you can do the first set of bends, then add in, okay, add in the 9th fret bend. But remember, there's another bend we did earlier, which was, and we bent it, the whole thing. Remember that one? If not, rewind, because how cool is that for a resolution down to that whole thing? Or you can go, okay, sounds like music now, huh? Okay, so now I'm incorporating everything just within the first octave of it. Not even everything, just showing you how to make it musical now and how to explore. Okay, so you can be playing along a D. Is there anything there that I have not showed you? No. It's just me being me, and I want you to be you and do something with all of this. Okay? Now, the same scale coming down, just a major pentatonic. It's actually a blues scale kind of coming down here. Just a quick hammer-on pull-off exercise, which I've taught many times before, but it so lends itself here. Okay, let's just take this whole thing up and do this. And I was doing it a little bit ago with the, doing that hammer-on thing. I want you to go high E string. I'm just going to do like tabs. 10, 7, 10. Okay, so you hit it, 10, then 7, 10, 7. Okay. Okay, so we'll do the same thing all the way through. So now exactly the same thing on the B string. Now on the G string, doing 9 and 7. Same on the D string. Same thing on the A string. And going to 5 and 7 on the A string to finish up. So again, 10, 7, 10. Same thing on the B string. 9 and 7 on the G. Same thing on the D. Same thing on the A. And 7, 5, 7 on the D. I'm sorry, on the A string. Okay. That's actually a great way to do it. After the, just go straight to the D note. So. Instead of that. Okay, so one last time the way I want you to do it for now. Okay. that is just a good lick, number one. Again, don't forget you can bend the root notes. Instead of, you can go, and the one right below it. Don't forget all your bends. They are very important to get to these things. So you have all this stuff now to play in D, but actually to play in every single key. Do it in E. You got a low E to throw in there, so now. Use your imagination, but use all this stuff. Again, I'm basically going to start getting out of here and wrapping this up at this point, because I do want you to figure out a lot of this on your own, because there is at least 100 times more stuff just with what I've showed you that you can and should figure out by yourself without me spilling the beans. Okay? So take the scale that I have showed you and the lick, and do everything that I have showed you. And know that you can do everything there, and think about it. Anybody who doesn't have locking anything up here, even though even because we're in D, we have natural harmonics right here at the 7th fret. You can do all kinds of cool stuff above the nut, especially for Fender players who do not have a tilt back headstock like these goofy things. You'll get a lot more out of that kind of thing. But I have a whole lesson on behind the nut bending. Just look it up. I've got at least 500 some videos on here. But just go to my thing and put behind the nut. Just put Scott Grove nut. I know they'll all show up then. But there's a whole hour worth of just behind the nut bending stuff for anybody who wants that. But again, just take everything I showed you and apply more to it. There is so much more if you check out all the bends to get to these notes. What 2 notes you can bend together. Skip strings. That's where you're going to find a lot of cool stuff. What do I mean? I mean you're right here. You're on D. Now you're on the G string. Okay, there's places to go here. I haven't shown you any of this stuff yet. I'm playing different strings. I'm skipping now the G string. Okay. I'm skipping D strings. Learn to skip strings. Don't always play strings that are next to each other or adjacent to each other. There is a lot to be had doing string skipping. Skipping the G string altogether, but still in D. Okay, so with what I showed you, you should be able to figure out enough stuff for a lifetime actually, but I would like to simply have you figure it out. I can stand here and show it to you all day, and I have on other lessons, but this lesson I would like you to just simply use the stupid little lick I showed you and figure it out. Okay, so I'm just going to call this one quits because, hey, what a good angle. Anyway, and God, that's what it is. It's that damn zoom button. Get it out of here. Once again, Scott Grove, just hoping that this helps in some way. And the biggest help, like I said, that you can possibly get is to do this on your own. Okay, so just take what I did and work on it for a month, really, or a year, or whatever it takes, I don't care. But it is much better to learn on your own than it is from me. I know this is my living, and I'm telling you not to learn from me. Not to learn from anybody. I mean, get inspired by people, and you can figure out their songs and so forth, and that's all great. But figure them out. Don't just learn them from somebody else that learned them wrong. That's the worst part is, out of all this, I think, is really other people that learn things wrong and then they show it to you, then you're screwed up for the rest of your life. So this is kind of a deprogramming lesson, I guess, to hopefully at least get one person out there to at least try this and try to learn from now on their own without using me or anybody else, even though you're taking money out of my pocket if you were to ever pay for a lesson of mine or anybody else's. I'm just self-taught, and it has been the best thing for me easily because I see what's going on the internet and everybody asking for everything, and it drives me nuts. I wish people would never ask me for anything. It would make my day a lot better. But I would like them to say, hey man, I figured out a lot of stuff via something that I saw that you did, and then I expanded on it. That's what I would like to hear back. Not that, hey, I know how to play exactly like you, because nobody needs another me. Trust me, and trust everybody else. I'm too far out there. There's no room in the world for two Scots. Okay? not two Scots like me. I know a lot of Scots that are great people, but so again, I'm just rattling here because I can, because there's tape left. So use everything there. Start string skipping, but using the same notes, all in that scale, all in that little lick, that riff, that little whatever that was to trick you into learning all this other stuff. Okay? But it's not a trick. It's all these notes are right there. There's only so many notes you can play over top of any given chord. Okay? So that's why you take it to another chord and play all the same stuff again. But then you're going to run out of certain strings, and you'll learn how to go to different strings and do the same thing, and that's where real learning comes in. Do it real low, do it down here in G, and then all of a sudden start running out of stuff. Then you have to find your way to play this same stuff, but on other strings, and how to make things happen. That's where you're going to learn. So do that. Don't just say, well, Scott showed me, and then I run out of down here at the 4th fret, it's the last I can play. That's like, no. Let's just hit in D. Learn it in all the keys. Learn it in G flat. Learn how to do it in E, but start it down here instead of an octave up. Yeah, it can be done. It's just a guitar. It's not science, like I said. A certain amount of science, I guess. But anyway, I'll shut up. I'm out of here. Again, Scott Grove with the weird ass lace helix Batman looking guitar thing here. What are these knobs for? I don't know. Big tone knobs, but they call them data knobs. Yeah, they're just regular tone knobs, and they're huge. And then they go put one normal volume knob on here, and then these left over from their computer or something, I don't know. But yeah, they're routed out for them. Goofy axe. Plays great, sounds great. Anyway, I'll shut up. I'm out of here. Go play, go work this out for yourself, and don't watch my lessons anymore if you can. Don't watch anybody's, if you can help it, okay? I mean it. I mean it. Don't. If you can figure everything out on your own, do it. Stop watching everybody. Stop watching me, please. Don't ever buy anything from me, ever. I wish you would. Just go away. How's that? Go away. And just work on it on your own, and don't listen to anybody else ever again. Learn the crap on your own, and learn. Okay? It's the best way to do it. So I'll say bye to you and hope to never see you again. Okay? Bye.